Hey, folks, what's going on? I'm Scott. That's Ryan. And of course, over there is Mr. Davion Bussey, flash in the hat, looking awesome, fantastic. Both of you guys are.
Too much energy.
Basically, let's break it down. The guys wearing glasses are the good looking guys, and the guy not wearing the glasses is just kind of there. So,
Fine. Hold on there.
Oh, no. Put him back on, man. Actually, oh, God, that's weird. Day, I don't know you, when you don't have glasses on. This is weird. Put it back on. I don't know.
I mean, you do look a little different. I'm not going to lie.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Put glasses back on now. It's like, oh, I know you. There's Dave.
If anyone's got the Bobby Hill haircut, it's me. So it's like I can't do his voice though.
It's funny. I didn't even realize it, but I actually right before he came on, I said, "Dang it, Bobby!" So hey, how you doing? So, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot of good stuff today. We're going to be talking a little bit about Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny. My big question is, if it fails, if/when, or maybe will it change Disney's approach to how they're taking these big blockbuster films? So,
hold on.
What is that on your neck?
All right. Look, if anyone's going to defend this movie and the possibilities of it doing good,
I like his look.
It has to be me.
Okay.
All right. Any true fan will notice that this is the idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I know.
This is also the pass from when my sister and I went to go see the Indiana Jones marathon at AMC theaters back when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull first came out. Whether or not we'll be able to have the time to see Dial of Destiny, but it's kind of been like a family tradition. My sister and I, as always, watched the movies. We watched them at home. We actually had a taped copy of Temple of Doom from like television onto an old VHS tape, and I wore that thing out. But it was one of those franchises. It was like the first franchise that like the family was like integrated with. Before I really got into Disney or Batman or any of that other stuff that my family knows me for, Indy was it. So even with Crystal Skull being as torturous as it is, because for some ungodly reason, the minute George Lucas and Steven Spielberg figured out what CGI was, they just immersed it into everything.
The scene where Shia LaBeouf is sitting there swinging on the ropes next to monkeys.
Oh, the whole refrigerator thing,
well, yeah,
the aliens with their mind bullets. It's like, come on. Yeah, Temple of Doom is like classic Indy. Like, Raiders is good, but there's just something about like that mix of humor and action that's just straight on action. For the practical effects, even the swirling whirlpool of lava in Temple, it's just like, it wasn't real, but damn, they made it look good.
It's funny. I was 8 years old when Temple of Doom came out. And every kid back then, I remember distinctly, I wanted to be short round. The line, "Okay, Dr. Jones, hang on to your potatoes." We said that all the time on the playground because you're he's a kid at that point. You're like 8 years old and you're hanging around with like Indiana Jones. And how cool was it, at that point? Thank God they didn't bring back Mutt. We can talk about Mutt if we need to. I don't want to spoil that one, but I already know what happens there. But 5 years later, when I saw Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I saw it in theaters with a buddy of mine by the name of Jason Pepper. By the way, yes, in case you're wondering, when he entered the military, he was eventually discharged with the rank of
Sergeant.
He was.
Sergeant
Pepper. Me and him saw this. It was 1989. We saw it in theaters. My parents went, but because we were teenagers at that point, we sat in a different section than they did because, teens. But I have such a fondness for the first three and even borderline, 4 movies. Were the snake CGI? Yeah, they were. In Crystal Skull, they were.
Yeah.
My take on this is I was kind of okay with Crystal Skull mostly because it was 18 years later. They played it a little bit at that point with Indy being older and not being able to do the things he used to do when his character was like 65 years old. So, okay, you played that card. I wasn't great on it, but I've said this before. I love that ending. Him and Marion get married. Mutt, the kid, is there. And it's kind of a passing the torch. I walked away from that ending being like, that's a good ending.
It was one of those movies like when you first saw it, it's like all the little things didn't really hit you at once. I mean, yes, it did seem a little different. Communists instead of Nazis, aliens as opposed to like theological artifacts, which were pretty much the name of the game, whether it was Christianity or otherwise.
You're right.
And there was still like at least some semblance of like, you know, if Indy was younger, this is an adventure he would have gone on regardless.
Hmm. Well, see, also at that point, one of the things that's about it is that was still Lucas and Spielberg.
Right.
This one in this case was not. You know, they
No.
have no involvement in this. This is James Mangold, who to his
Ah!
you got the hat too. You know, Mangold to his credit does have good resume on there for versus Ferrari. He's got Logan. He has a good cred there, but he is not the original visionaries of it. And this movie right now, which has a bloated $295 million budget on this movie, not counting anything when it comes to marketing, promotion, the fact that the theaters actually get a part of the ticket sales, how all that breaks down. There is not a lot of faith for this movie on the grounds that basically it's getting reviews like this from usually corporate goody IGN.
Wait, here's another thing. Go to Applebee's, buy 35.
Oh, no. We're going to talk the Applebee's promotion in due time. The fact that basically they were struggling so badly to sell tickets that they have to have a promo alongside Applebee's to give away tickets, which will count as ticket sales. And yes, I do agree with you on this case. Willie was definitely annoying in Temple of Doom. She is of all the female protagonists in these movies, she was my least favorite because she was doing nothing but screaming and whining the entire time.
But that's
why Marion was so big
idea
to
of
me.
being like a damsel in distress. I mean, that she was like a typical damsel in distress.
Yeah.
I'd rather her than say the blonde who you found out also snooked your father and then turned out to be a Nazi.
Dr. Elsa Schneider. I don't know what she's up to, but like I said, Marion was my favorite because there was a certain badassery to that woman. When you met her, she was having a drinking game in the middle of nowhere and beating guys like twice her size.
Even if she was somewhat possibly underage when she
well, there's that whole pedophilia thing. Indy was like 26 and she was 15, like when they first got involved. And then
it's a very Jerry Lee Lewis sort of thing going on.
It's a little. That's one of those underlying things that's never really talked about. But Karen Allen sold it for me when it came to Indy 4 because bringing her back, I liked Marion, I liked Karen, I liked her in that movie too because she had that same spunk, And now with what's happening with this one, which Day, I already told you the breakdown on that. Actually, I broke it to you already, Ryan. I'll just say this part. The fact that Marion and Indy are now divorced. It's like, really, are you going Star Wars Episode 7 here? With the same way that you got like Han and Leia divorced now. What is it with Harrison Ford's old characters and just being divorced from their character, from their love interest?
Right.
I'll shut up. You guys go.
No, you're good. And they offed off Shia LaBeouf's character.
I was not going to mention that one.
Wait.
I was not going to mention that one in this case, but yes, that is true.
Mutt's dead?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mutt?
I didn't want to tell you that, but yes, they kill him off in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I found sorry, I didn't know if that was
movie.
I was talking to somebody about this and they told me, and they haven't even seen the movie, they're like, his character is offed off in Vietnam, so they're not showing him off at all. I'm like, oh,
sorry, spoilers by the way, if you want to. A little F1 fact by the way, BT Dub spoilers.
They're really not going to go see the movie because they killed.
Yeah. But
wow.
like I said, so
like I said,
all the goodwill that the fourth movie had, like Rob just did. He did this. It's like your happy ending, even in your fourth movie, which was okay. It's like you kill the kid off in Vietnam. You're divorced from your wife, and it's like, let's go see Indiana Jones because we can feel hopeful. Da 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 da. Oh yeah. Sorry, Tyler. Yeah.
Oh no, poor Tyler.
I did. I should have prepped Rob on this one ahead of time.
The guy that works at the movie theater. It's like,
but it's already on the internet anyway. Everybody pretty much knows. I think for the most part.
That's why I thought it was just a synopsis thing because it's on the internet.
It wasn't. No. I probably should have made a mention. By the way, we're not spoiling anything, but too late now. Sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan. I really feel bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
to be honest, I haven't seen the movie, so maybe I'm wrong.
From what I understand, in this case here, the movie did go through extensive reshoots, which is why it's $295 million. I know what the original script was. I know what the new script is. So I will not release anything on that. I promise. As far as how the rest of the story goes, I only gave away the first few minutes anyway. So, or we did. So I'm not going into any more details in that way. But that's fine. It's over. It's done with. It's okay.
Just like
But-
Shia LaBeouf's career.
Like,
Yeah.
what happened to Shia LaBeouf? Everybody is just kicking him.
Doesn't he own like a pot farm or something?
I don't know, but just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, he had his breakdown. He was in those Nymphomaniac movies, and that's been it.
Yeah.
Last thing I heard was what Honey Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I don't know
that,
if-
that was supposed to be like about his upbringing. So
what was Honey Boy, by the way? I have a
it
feeling-
was
I have
about
a feeling
like
this is
a
dark
child
answer.
actor and the aggressive father that went ahead and pushed him.
Well, you see that sometimes too. I mean,
Is
You know,
Indy
the
next?
Jack-
I mean, it's
yeah. By the way, no more spoilers in this case. I promise you that.
Yeah.
my
So-
prediction is yes. I think Indy will be next. That's just my prediction.
Oh,
I
I haven't
love
seen the man
Lord.
die in
What's
peace.
up?
So,
Howdy, y'all.
yeah.
Like,
So
we
like I
didn't
said,
even
we're-
learn how Senior died. We just know that he died.
yeah. So, but like I said, this is why he's curmudgeon-y in this case. I will not. The only thing I'm going to mention about the original script, which would have been nice, is Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character in that one. Where originally, she's a new character this time around, but she was Marcus Brody's grandchild in the original version.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought it was going to be. But then with the
Very
trailer,
sure.
they introduce, all the new characters and everything. And it's like, I got shot even by your dad. And it's like, okay, so now we get that short British actor who I remember from like Doctor Who or something. I forget his name.
He was that guy from that thing. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
every
well,
time
You have to IMDb that for me.
Yeah.
but-
The guy that basically in the flashback scenes for Indy 5, showing the connection
Armin Zola. Yeah.
between-
we're
showing
talking about the guy.
connection
We're not talking about the guy from Lord of the Rings, are we?
No.
Which guy from Lord of the Rings?
No. John Rhys Davies has one scene in the new movie.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Gimli. But like
Yeah.
I said, I mean, right now.
Yeah, but as Fala, he was like Sala. He was like an OG character.
But like I
Yes.
said, this is Forbes, by the way. This is not some mom and pop.
Oh.
Yeah. Variety magazine was rough on it too.
Yeah.
Well, is anyone out of this group gonna go see it?
No. I might do Disney Plus, but Ryan, I think you are, right?
I mean, out of tradition, yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Excuse me, Well, just to touch on this, Kathleen Kennedy has doubled down by saying that she wants Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be the new Indiana Jones.
I know you can't really do something like that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have like an action adventure series with a female lead, but I think the minute Toby Jones, that's who it was.
Toby Jones, thank
Tyler.
you.
I think the minute you start going ahead and start saying it's like the female this or the male this, you're already kind of like shooting the
That didn't
character
work.
in the foot. Like you're
Yeah.
already doing it a disservice by saying, "Oh, it's just like the character you remember, only it has or it does not have certain parts." It's like that's not the point of the character. The character is supposed to be engaging based upon what you've done to its lore, what you've done for its growth. It shouldn't necessarily be like, oh, just the exact same thing but with a different body.
Yeah.
That's why I think people were starting to reject the idea of what's his face, Star-Lord, becoming the new Indiana Jones. Back when this
Christopher
wasn't
Pratt.
supposed to be happening, and they were just supposed to be doing a reboot.
Mhm.
I think you have to, if you're going to go ahead and do Indiana Jones again, fine, but do it like from some years from now when you don't really have to worry about it, or do like what they were doing back in like the 90s, do the young Indiana Jones adventures back when they had Sean Patrick Flannery as the character. You could definitely pump some life back into a series like that with all the Disney Plus series there are. You could easily do something like that and keep it practical so that this way it's not an inflated budget. But
Now, Sean Connery didn't make it to this movie, correct?
No, he's been passed away for a while, and they kind of gave him his ending in Crystal
Face
Skull
Warrior.
because they had the picture on the
Okay.
on his desk, which I thought was a nice touch. And then Denham Elliott, they had a statue of him as well, which I thought was really, really nice.
Okay.
So like I said, that's
'Cause I
him
knew he
eight-
passed a couple of years ago, and so
Yeah, they killed off a character by Crystal Skull, which apparently 2 years prior to Crystal Skull. So I think they killed off Henry Jones Sr. in 1955.
Okay.
Which he was already old enough to begin with, even after drinking from Jesus'
Fountain of
chalice.
Youth.
Yeah. Well, see, remember the Grail's powers do not extend past the Great Seal. That doesn't
Right,
sound
if you
pretty-
want
and
to
the
stay immortal,
price
you
of
gotta stay
immortality.
there.
Yeah.
And
Indy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
no. Just
Right.
Jay, where's your Indiana Jones hat?
You know what? I should have actually gotten it for this. I didn't think of that.
One too.
Like I said, for me,
yeah,
though,
you know how official this is?
But wait,
that is a night that.
There.
Well, Stetsons are cool.
Got Indiana Jones right there on
Actually, you know what?
the
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to.
Oh, is that an official Indiana Jones one?
Yes.
yeah,
That is
Oh,
yeah, I can see
directly
it.
from Disney MGM Studios
Respect.
back when they used to sell them.
Respect.
Okay, well, this is not an official, but I thought it looked pretty close enough.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me pull you over.
I
Come on.
mean, you look more like a cowboy than an
Oh, thanks.
adventurer, but yes.
reading
The black shirt isn't helping much.
There we go.
Oh, well, I
I'm
went
sorry it took
back.
so long to do that. So.
Yeah, it's such a straight brim.
I mean, it does got the vibes of it.
He's closer than I am.
It's
with
got
that.
the vibes, yes. I'll give you that. You have the vibes. But it's just such
And,
a
I went back
rim.
in
It looks
time
like-
and got it.
Nice.
The
And
rim
I'm
looks like
double
something out of
checking
like
it.
Blazing Saddles. It's like
Now,
Yeah. Why
do
don't we
we think-
reboot that movie?
What?
It's
do
a
we
modern-
think... Oh, something... or
sometimes-
sometimes my...
Inside thoughts
It's
become
become my-
outside.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great. So Mike, so are we thinking this movie's gonna do worse than Flash in theaters?
no.
We think this is gonna do better than Flash in theaters.
I think it's going to do what. All right, let me go by my.
Yeah, go day, go.
Okay. Nostalgia wise, is going to be worse. Money wise, is going to do better than Flash.
Okay.
How much do you guys think it's going to pull?
Let me look at that ranking again.
Yeah, right. Hang on a second.
Do
Hold
we
on.
think it's gonna make more than what it cost? You said what it cost, like $250,000.
295 million is 294.7 million is the
Hey, Gary.
official number from
So
Disney.
it would need to make 300, and that's not even including promotion. So it probably
You're
needs to
looking
make,
at probably 900 million in order to really break even on something like this.
wow.
Because the marketing, the promotions, the tie-ins, and that granted, that is not just box office, but I mean, like, obviously merchandise sales and things like that. Merchandising.
Do we know what the oh, hold on, here's the so what's Flash made so far? Is it on
Flash
that
is at
list?
210.
Not a lot.
Okay, 210. Do we have records of what the last Indiana Jones made in theaters at all?
I can find it.
I'm sorry. I'm just curious of what
Yeah.
they made last. And that can
I will
Kinda
say,
I almost want to say like Crystal Skull probably made money back
Yeah.
when it came
There
out.
we go. I just pulled it up for you. So,
Okay.
so yeah, Crystal Skull.
So it made 317,000.
300,
Yeah, so
but,
it did
no,
better than the other ones, but that's not counting for inflation.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Crystal Skull was 185 million to produce or to make.
wow. So why couldn't they've stayed at that budget?
Well,
All right, so
well, there's
Well-
a reason for that because there's massive
Yeah.
reshoots on this one. So I mean, massive
True.
reshoots. John Williams has already gone on record by saying he had to rescore the ending, and John Williams isn't cheap. To forget what they had to do as far as the filming part of it, if they had him rescore that ending, it's pretty massive. The reshoots.
all right, so let's go back to the other thing.
Kind of like I heard this week that we were originally, instead of George Clooney, or actually spoilers for the Flash movie, but instead of George Clooney, it was supposed to be Christian Bale.
That's what it was supposed to be. How dare
But
you?
Christian Bale said no.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been funny.
Later, dude. I hope that's not a euphemism for something that means legit there.
That was good.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't know what state you're coming from, but
I'm not judging, man. Listen, we
Hey.
just discussed Indiana Jones and Marion like the first time around when Marion was 15. So
dude,
It was supposed to be Christian Bale.
yeah.
it
I mean,
would have been funny if it was Christian Bale. It's funny because it's Clooney.
well, see,
Where is she?
But you know what it is? I mean, Christian Bale. I think Clooney invokes a better image because Christian Bale was memorable for the three movies, and obviously what they did. But Clooney is memorable because that movie was so bad And
Yeah.
Clooney is personable enough to look at it and be like, "Yeah, that sucked."
And
It was
you know
nice
what?
to meet you.
Let's keep
Staying in that mentality, I almost hate to think that compared to The Flash, which a lot of people were touting around as like a great film and, a great comic book movie, possibly the greatest comic book movie of the year. But that kind of word service, that kind of like, mouth to mouth, it probably didn't help it much. This might go along the lines of like that whole George Clooney mentality where it's like with the reviews and the critiques out this early, some people may go see it just for the, let's see how bad it really is factor.
I think, you know what?
I will tell you, I will be seeing. I think my friend's taking me to go see this, so I will be seeing this movie, but not obviously early because my theater doesn't get movies early. I get them on a Friday, so I think we're seeing it.
What do you guys
Friday.
stand talk about? What do you guys don't talk about? Maybe. So.
I thought you were saying, what do you guys usually talk about?
This is usually
pretty much flavor of the week.
Basically,
film, television, usually have a streaming area, but obviously we also talk about movies and what our own projects are.
We have
relevant.
Between all of us, we've got like 30 years of experience within film and Hollywood specifically. So
3 out of the 4 of us just in New Jersey and New York alone.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously Rob had his first premiere a couple weeks ago, Red Carpet. Congratulations, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in our case, we look at this from the perspective of the money and the behind the scenes because of the fact that we have done so much. I'm not doing anything right now because the goddamn writer's strike has basically got me sitting on my ass. But prior to this, I had over a dozen years in the film industry. Ask me how I feel about this right now.
Hey, how do you feel about that?
No, shut up.
No, I told Robin, I told my wife before, and then she's like, when do you think the strike will be done? I'm like, we're thinking October. She's like, October.
But one was not wrong with that. Yeah, we'll get into that definitely when we get back to The Flash and its terrible second week. But
WB has always been like, hey, we're here too, kind of thing.
Right. But I think the other thing with this indie movie is that it's kind of in the same vein as Guardians 3. We know for a fact this is going to be Harrison Ford's last Indiana Jones movie. If they try to do it again, they're going to be Weekend at Bernie in his body just to make it move on set. So he is not doing another one. And this is also supposed
to do another one 34 years ago.
Well, also, this is supposed to be the last score that John Williams is supposed to be conducting.
What a damage to his legacy, though, if this movie flops.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Can we go back to the chart? Because
yeah. You mean this chart or the
yeah, that chart.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So my prediction. See,
man, Mario's doing
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mario also had a big step up from being like in the spring.
Yeah.
And being the only family movie that was really out there.
True. Right. And then Fast and Furious did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, though, with Fast and the Furious, all that was international because it's such a big deal with the foreign aspect of it. Because people are like, hey, our country's in this film because they're like, we're going to film in Antarctica or Zimbabwe or someplace like that random.
Hey, guys.
Family.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing that's actually playing into Indiana Jones's favor.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that June, with the exception of really Across the Spider-Verse, a lot of the big blockbuster movies have kind of been petering out.
Is Transformers not doing? Oh,
yeah,
no, it's not.
I think people are getting tired of the big budget, big blockbuster, big CGI movies.
Yeah,
and maybe
at least ones that really don't.
At least
pay off.
This one was better than the other ones. I was entertained.
I will say
Transformers.
Yeah, right. I will say I think one of the biggest issues too is that you have a lot of big. You had a lot of
get the Barbie at some point. I guarantee.
Yeah, you will get Barbie.
Ryan has very
Barbie. Definitely for next week. We will be doing our what was it? Cash or Trash?
Cash or Trash.
Basically, yeah, we'll be doing our Cash or Trash. We do that at the start of every month. And we'll be doing it for July next Monday, in which we'll go down like 4 of the 5 big blockbusters that are coming out that month. And we're going to decide whether or not it's going to be hit or miss. Which I will say, for our June perspective, we've been pretty right.
Yeah. You know, by the way, the other clip of that's going to go up on Wednesday for Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I will say this. It's going to be Indy might beat the Flash.
Oh, it'll definitely beat Flash.
I said might.
I'm saying definite.
Right now, it's before the Applebee's deal, granted, but right now it's projecting to 60 to 70 million box office opening weekend.
See, I was gonna say 70. I was gonna say 70 because it would definitely put it over the hump of that 55 million that they did on the Flash first weekend. And
I thought the Flash first weekend made 70 million with international.
I'm talking domestic. I'm talking simple domestic because I think Indiana Jones is one of those movies
55 on the 3-day weekend.
Better in America than it will overseas.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Verse is still going okay, but also with Spider-Verse, that was only $100 million budget. This is, like I said, 294.7, which additionally with Spider-Verse, most of the profits of that do not go to Disney, they go to Sony.
Right.
It's a 3-to-1 ratio, so $3 to every one goes, Sony to Disney.
Yeah, but the fact that Spider-Verse still came back to number 1 this week on its 4th week, but it only made like $19 million. That's how low all the other movies were.
Well, that's because of the fact that I think as a society we've moved past movies.
It's like
Kyle's
almost
like only 100 million.
By No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence.
Or I know, like, for example, a lot of movies, I mean, not where I live, but a lot of movies, it costs us $20 just to go to the theaters.
It's okay.
And then plus, where I live, it only costs us $8 to go to the theaters, which is nice.
You and your country.
I can't.
By state, you mean? Arkansas?
The country of Arkansas. Yeah. It's pronounced Arkansas, you idiot.
Wait.
Sorry that we up here in the city folk, we got to pay double.
Because we're city folks.
Exactly.
You look like my relative.
Wait, which one of us looks like your relative?
Yes.
No, I was just making a joke, like, because, they say everybody in Arkansas is related.
Oh.
Do they say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
What was that line from
anyways.
What was that line from Family Guy? It's like, you smell just like the inside of my mama's purse.
Even the dog didn't like that. You hear that? That's terrible, man.
They went into witness protection and we're sending the town of Bumble.
Look at poor Indy's face. Look at Indy's face. He's like, shut that dog up.
Top Gun, I think, did do the same kind of deal there.
But the thing about
the difference is Tom Cruise versus Harrison Ford. Tom Cruise is a personable guy. Yeah. And this is where I think the issue with George Clooney versus this is Clooney has a personality which kind of like captures you. Harrison Ford doesn't. Harrison Ford is just at this point I use the word curmudgeon-y, and I think that's the persona both in interviews. Clooney has charisma, persona. You want to grab. I did BG work on the movie Money Monster, and I was there. And you just capture like this George Clooney aura like 20 feet away. It's like, and it's kind of neat because he's just a chill guy. I don't know for sure. I've never been near Harrison Ford, but I would imagine he probably doesn't have that same kind of level of persona. Hamill would.
See, Ford gives off the kind of persona where it's like he'll have fun with you, but he's kind of gonna have like that Clint Eastwood kind of fun with you, where like you don't know whether or not he's making a joke or he really is going to like skin you alive when you're not looking.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem that makes him less personal. If you ever see the show,
more interesting.
If you see the show Shrinking, which I highly recommend on Apple, Harrison Ford plays himself. And I think he should be nominated for an Emmy because of how good he was in that show. I was amazed by how good it was. But it was just Harrison Ford pretty much playing Harrison Ford.
Well, at this point, that's all he has to play. I mean, he's done his characters.
Right.
Most of them have been killed off, so he's good for the moment.
This is not my department. You guys would be able to answer that one better, I think.
Do you think?
Being Superman looks older because James Gunn just. All right, yeah, I had heard about the two potentials. Mm-hmm. I don't see Nicholas Hoult as a Superman type or a Lex Luthor type. Like Nicholas Hoult, he's fine, but he's kind of like just a little naive looking.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense. Like I remember seeing him in Renfield, and he's just kind of like, yeah, he looks like he could be fooled very easily. Doesn't actually have that imposing persona, and he's been like that with everything he's done. Whether he was Hank McCoy / Beast, whether it was that Warm Bodies movie, Jack the Giant Killer, even when you see him in like What's that one with him on Hulu where he's like the Russian oligarch king, whatever?
We want him to play Lex Luthor.
I could see it.
I see more of a Clark because of the black hair, but that's just me.
I see. You know what I see? Actually, I see a young Benedict Cumberbatch.
Too baby face for that.
Mm.
Like
Well,
I could
that's why
see
he
how
said
you
no.
could be like either one of the characters, but the thing is, he just looks too innocent.
Mm.
He's Peter Parker.
No, I'll say this: Nicholas Holt. I really.
Hey, listen, if Eisenberg played, yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, the face. I think you can see that sinister look in this guy.
I'm not saying he couldn't play a villain, but I'm saying if you're going to go ahead and
Wait,
make
were
him a
those
hero,
the two same pictures?
Yeah,
No.
it's the
Two
same guy.
people?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, you can see. I can see Lex Luthor there. That's just me.
now what about David Cornsweet?
Yeah, let me find that out real quick.
What kind of a name is Cornsweet?
Shut up.
You swiping people's corn.
I mean,
Swipe or no
Okay,
What's
swiping.
the last name, man? Leave people's last names alone.
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
I'm not the one that made the last name. You know how many actors don't use their real name when they're acting?
I know, but eesh.
Well,
Okay,
I
now
think-
Yo,
to be fair,
That looks like-
it's Corin Sweat, but
you know what he looks like? He looks like a younger Brendan Fraser.
I can see that.
yeah, okay.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
You know, it's funny, I'm
Him-
trying to figure out what he looked like, but yeah, I
can see as a potential Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the big eyes. He's got
got
the
the-
broad facial features.
he actually almost has like a Christopher Reeve, Brendan Routh look to him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I can see it.
wow.
I can see it. Now, does anybody know what he's done?
David Corn Sweat?
Yeah. What has he acted in?
Let's find out. Corin Sweat.
In movies.
I'm just gonna call it Corn Sweat.
I'm sorry. I'm just not going to be able to take someone seriously when the name is
Let's see.
David
The
Cornsweet.
greatest hit: Twisters, Pearl, Look Both Ways, Affairs of State.
Yeah, he was in
He did a bunch of
Twister.
episodes of the show called The Politician.
Oh, okay.
One
So
episode
is
of
he
Elementary.
playing
I
a
missed that. That was
younger-
great.
Now here's the question: is he playing a younger Superman?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's the whole
That
idea of
didn't
James
make
Gunn.
sense, yeah.
He
Like
Like
wanted-
a
they said-
Tom Welling sort of Smallville kind of coming of
That's
age.
why we're not getting Henry Cavill at the moment, because they want to do a younger Superman story. But James Gunn did say he would use Henry Cavill in like a later project.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily a Superman, but Henry Cavill is still on the plate to be
Yeah.
utilized in Gunn's DCU.
With or without mustache.
To be honest, now at this point, I'd say go with the mustache because he looked
Dude,
good in that
you know
Mission
what?
Impossible
Yeah.
movie.
Now,
Like he
Oh.
looked
He'll
boss.
be clean shaven, but they'll CGI a mustache back on him.
No. Leave the mustache. Leave the mustache. Make him do like the gun arms and just like roll up with it. I want to see him going at it.
you want
How he never got like a Man from U.N.C.L.E. franchise, I'll never know.
Dude, but wasn't there a reboot of that?
He was in that. He was in the movie, and it should have been a franchise for him. To be honest, it was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it was Guy Ritchie, Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't do much with Armie Hammer now, unless you unless catering can get the appropriate food for him.
Here's the weird thing. I'm looking at the numbers on that. Movie came out in 2015. Budget was 75 to 104, and box office was 107. So box
what?
office for Man from U.N.C.L.E., the movie from 2015.
Okay.
So it did above the box office numbers, but the fact that it did above that seems strangely like an accomplishment nowadays.
In the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about like a reboot or a tentpole or something that's like a notable IP, yes.
If you look at, like I said, in this case here, let's bring that. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, wrong one there. I mean, if you look at this one here, Little Mermaid is 500 million. It's like dollars away from 500. It's at 500 million against 250.
I don't
So
know how it did that.
it's
It
The
did
problem
it because a lot of people came and showed up for Halle Bailey.
Yeah.
All I gotta say, it was a movie that was a good nap.
Wow.
you know.
hate
Okay,
on
let me ask you,
Disney.
this. Rob. Were you able to sleep through the Aquafina rap song?
I think I did.
That's impressive.
Wow.
Because I slept. So no, and it's not me like hating on them. They took a movie that was originally an hour and a half and made it 2 hours and 15 minutes, and not really added much to the story at all. The
That's-
only thing, Hey,
See, even the dog don't
Even
fight.
the dog don't like
man. The only thing that I will say that was good that I was up for was Eric's solo song.
But yeah, I mean, it's scratching to barely hit 500 million at this point against 250, and obviously, marketing, promotion, all this kind of stuff. It'll break even at best, but it's something that people are just going to be like, oh yeah, that was a thing, because they're not going to really think about it. Versus the original, which was a tight 85-ish minutes or an hour and a half. In this case here, the overblown, long, dragged out films, in a TikTok world is making it more and more difficult. And a lot of people are like, you know what? I don't want to do it. From the sports perspective, the reason why soccer keeps growing in popularity is because of the fact that you'll be out of there in 2 hours. It's 90 minutes of actual game time plus some added time and halftime. You can literally set dinner plans based on a 1 o'clock game. It's that, and when you're in, when you're out. Here, you're sitting there, you're waiting, you got these songs, you got this thing. And after a while, people start getting a little antsy on that.
Well, plus it doesn't help the theaters much when
you have
taking up that much time.
In a swamp. Remember when I was in the swamp?
I just love how they put the is it Scuttle?
Scuttle. Yeah, Scuttle.
They took the scene from the cartoon where she's supposed to be on a rock talking to Scuttle, and they put Scuttle underwater.
Yes,
and he was able to talk.
I think we discussed that last time with this.
Yeah, we did, but I'm just saying, it's like maybe that's why I toned out. But I fell asleep. Probably it was just
that was the only part of the movie Rob paid attention to, so that's all he could talk about.
Scuttle actually, I thought, had a good look. I didn't mind that personally, but
I don't mind the look. I just have a problem about him talking underwater.
I do mind the look. Like, why the Lance Bass hair? Like, what was the point of that? Just
Scuttle,
make it a bird.
Scuttle always had his hair kind of up.
Yeah, but he was
so
yeah, but that looks like
that's the scene I'm talking about.
That looks more like the birds I see in Jersey. This thing looked like something like from the Galapagos or something. I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't look too bad off.
If anything, I preferred the look of Sebastian.
Really?
Yeah, Sebastian really looked like a crab, and yet still somewhat cartoony.
I knew. With
those eyes that came up, absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, you look at those.
Yeah, look at that little guy. Look at his little pursed up face. Look at him.
Those eyes freak me out on the live action version. They just did. And it's just something creepy about those eyes.
Oh,
and they took out Sebastian's. They took out the chef scene.
Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Respect to Rene Auberjonois, future Odo in Deep Space Nine.
Hey Scott, I'm looking at you.
Well, I mean that's the thing. I mean you can do animated animal, murder and cooking, but for CGI animated animals, it just won't look right.
How did you guys' film festival go?
Right.
Well, I mean, if anyone else doesn't have any other questions, we might as well get into that a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not to just change off subject.
No, that's okay. I think we ran our course on this one anyway.
Yeah.
And then you can mention the Applebee's too.
Well, Applebee's did not have a tie-in to the Newark International Film Festival.
No,
no, I meant you did it the same weekend, and then about the Indiana Jones, you get a free ticket to go see it.
Yeah, $35, for one ticket, $7 for two, and that will count as box office numbers if it is redeemed. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
If you're at a theater that actually accepts the thing, because like for example, where I live, that's why my theater stays cheap. Is it does not accept any like free coupons to go see the movie. None of that is accepted.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think any theater is going to go ahead and accept those kinds of tickets because they're going to want the people in the theaters to possibly generate revenue for the concessions.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the theater is concerned, it doesn't necessarily matter how many people or how they get into the theater. They just care about how long they stay there and how much money they can get off of them once they're inside.
Right.
It's all about that profit on that.
I will say, I like my theater because it's $10 for a large popcorn and a large drink.
Well, I like my theater. AMC.
Well, it's better than if I go to an AMC. It's $20 for a large popcorn and a large drink.
Yes, but if you go on the right days, you also get like the commemorative tins and everything like I've got behind me.
Well, that's true.
With my Doctor Strange cube, my Ant-Man helmet, the buckets from the Endgame marathon. I refuse to get the Optimus Prime truck one because that just seemed silly.
Why? No, what you do with it, and I already had somebody do this, is they got the Optimus Prime, and they're going to get it signed by Peter Cullen.
Nice.
Which would be fine if it transformed.
It doesn't need to transform.
If I'm getting it until I'm going to transform.
Sorry.
Scott
Hit
left
the wrong
us.
button on that.
Yeah.
He went.
No, I know Scott, but he didn't want to get involved in this argument.
Exactly. How dare you diss Peter Cullen?
He went Flashpoint on us.
Is it a barrel of popcorn? No. It's a large versus a mega extra large.
Exactly.
The mega extra large is only like 10% more.
Right.
What is it? Tall grande venti or something? You have a venti.
Welcome to Starbucks of the movies, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I get free upgrades as a part of AMC A-list, so it does not matter
Like,
to me.
I get free upgrades, not like you.
Oh,
please.
fine.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Look, I'm just saying, sooner or later, you guys are going to get into that stuff because it's just going to save you money.
I'm just waiting for you to have a cigar and be like, yes.
Yeah, I have the cigar you gave me. Don't let me go get it.
Exactly.
So, who was your favorite person you guys met this weekend?
Well, I mean, Lords of the Underground, Dupre Kelly.
Yeah,
Respect.
Dupree Kelly.
Yeah, Day, this is your department, so if you want to roll on that, you were the
Ladies and
bridge on all this.
gentlemen, it was a phenomenal event. It was an amazing. I having it at NGA Pack was the peak for opening night. I was starstruck. I was mesmerized. I was happy that it was at NJ Pack because that was one of the venues I've been hoping that the film festival utilized, and they did, and they did it well. So
He was run amok, bamboozled.
I'll applaud y'all big time. A lot of films. Congratulations to the winners. You'll see it on YouTube under our Tales from the Film Set site.
Streampunk Cinema, you'll find it.
Yeah. Streampunk Cinema.
Yeah, the videos
Yeah,
are-
I do have to say, the funny thing with Day's interviews, every time he ended it, he always said, we'll be back to see more at Tales from the Film Set. Like, he was just going so in on the show, and we appreciate that with the tagline and everything. Not sure if he ever said Streampunk Entertainment or Streampunk Cinema once.
He tried. But, but when he pooched it a couple of times, he's like, screw it. I didn't care. I had no problem with it because I was more interested in the interview going well than I was to get like the name every single time. Like I
know, but I admire the loyalty. I do.
No, it's cool. Listen, Day, you were fantastic in those interviews. Both you guys were. Charisma. You guys had your own different approach with it. So Ryan, you were a little more, I think, interactive and communicative. Yeah. You had them laughing more. I noticed a lot during the interviews. Day, you were kind of going more on the suave side of things.
Right.
But both of you guys handled it perfectly. So well. Thank you.
No, thank you for having us do that.
Yeah, glad we could help though.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to get you guys caught up to speed on everything, including the monetary part going forward, which I'll get you guys caught up, but we're not talking that on air.
Yeah.
And we'll have more interviews coming up within the next couple of days.
Yeah,
obviously.
YouTube.com/StreamPunk Cinema. You will find the interviews. They're in their own playlist right there for the Newark International Film Festival. So go to the playlist, drop down, you see them all, go.
Like, subscribe,
yes,
and share.
Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell icon.
And you're in the tri-state area,
YouTube videos.
And you have an event going on, like say maybe your own film festival or a movie premiere or something of that nature, feel free to shoot out to us, and maybe we could come by and help you with your event for modest income.
Yeah, we'll throw out a deal. You look like a nice guy, so we're gonna figure some stuff out here.
Well, we'll do the Jersey thing, It's like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours one day coming up.
Invites to like other festivals. There was something in Delaware. I think somebody said something about yesterday.
Yes. At least I had.
Yeah, so I got to reach out to some of the Delaware folks. Kyle, for example, see if he wants to do it.
Yeah, Kyle, we're gonna have work for you.
So the upcoming events that we may make appearance, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So yeah, but
who knows? I mean, if we're lucky, we'll actually get New York Comic-Con because Lord knows San Diego Comic-Con has nothing going on for it this year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You see that day?
Yes.
Oh my God.
No Marvel, no DC,
no Sony, no Universal. Like, I think Warner Brothers might be the only one to show there, and I think Warner Brothers might be the only people that nobody wants to be there after all this.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless they're really
Marvel,
gonna do some stuff
Netflix,
with
and
Blue
Sony
Beetle.
skip San Diego Comic-Con. So it's
Yeah.
basically it's the DC Comic-Con.
DC
I mean-
is where you want to be, ladies and gentlemen. Word live.
DC for you and me. DC for you and me. There.
But wait, doesn't DC already have like its own little broadcast where it goes ahead and tells all the things that DC is going to be doing in the next year? Weren't they doing that during the pandemic?
Yeah, but they're always kind of doing that, aren't they?
No, I thought they were doing that in case, Comic-Con wasn't going back up, and now the Comic-Con's going back up, and no one else seems to be going to it. Doesn't make any sense for them to go, because as of right now, their name is Mud. So I don't know what they could really do that's going to impress a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, Blue Beetle, that's pretty much it.
Right, but I mean, Netflix just had its Tudum with its big proclamations with Stranger Things and One Piece and all that. Marvel, as far as Disney, Lucasfilm, all that, there's D23, which comes out later in the year, so that's pretty much their showcase. Yeah, I almost wonder if San Diego Comic-Con is just going to be feeling the effects, because as years have gone by, DC Comic-Con, or San Diego Comic-Con, SD Comic-Con, this one that everyone just calls Comic-Con, because no one even thinks about New York, it's gotten a lot of bad press in last year.
That's the comment right there from Kyle that really ties it down.
Yeah.
These people are getting booed. Kathleen Kennedy got hardcore booed at the last ones because of what's happened with a lot of the stuff at Disney and everything like that, and some of the things she said. So, but yeah, in this case here, why pay to go to Comic-Con to announce something that basically you can already do on YouTube and through PR releases?
Right.
Right, but obviously we live in an area, at least for us New York, New Jersey people. Conventions are a big thing around here. Whether it's Fangoria, Thriller, Monster Mania, whether it's any of the anime cons. Rob obviously is able to go to plenty around in his area, but between us with New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, we get a slew of them, even if it's stuff that's primarily for just one show. Like, I know people that are getting set to go see the Vampire Diaries con that's going to be coming through Jersey. Like,
dude, the Walker Stalker.
I forgot that show was even a thing.
Have you been to Walker Stalker in Edison?
Once.
Okay, that is a crowded area because people are still Walking Dead fans hardcore. And you go to this thing, and they've obviously got everybody there, but it's still a massive turnout. So maybe the con thing, less generalized and more niche, is going to be the way they're going to start going with this.
Which I can understand, especially if niche has a big enough following. Like, say, we have one where it's like, guys who played mobsters in television and film. I think that's specifically around here. Yeah. I don't know if it goes anywhere else.
So basically you're saying half the cast of The Sopranos will be going.
3/4.
Yeah.
Vinny Pastore, we'll see you at MobsterCon.
But the thing with the cons is that now more so than ever, I thought they'd be making more of a comeback since we're out of the pandemic and people can go ahead and they can finally meet these people and see things face to face rather than have to go through a screen. But now it seems like they're more dying off than anything else.
Well, no. Jay, do you want to go with it? I have a theory of my own, but Jay, go first, please.
I think what it is right now San Diego is so big that it's so hard to contain itself. And facts, and also
Tyler, there will be a Chucky Con.
Dude, yeah, oh my god, the member berries and that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my god. That's gonna be really crazy, and I would not go there because I
would so go to that one. You don't even know. Just to get a picture with Jennifer Tilly. Hell yeah.
Have Brad Dourif and Mark Hamill side by side.
Brad.
Ooh.
Yes. But anyway, I think San Diego is so big to the point that I think it's going to start going towards the little cons. And right now, people are slowly going to New York Comic Cons because so far, I also pulled up the amount of tickets that were sold. Well, I'm going to say what was sold out. As of right now, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are interested in going to New York Comic Con, there are Thursday passes still available.
which nothing happens on Thursdays.
No, that's a lie.
Compared to Friday and Saturday and
That's
Sunday.
a lie. That's a lie.
Come on, don't.
Thursdays is a sleeper. They sleep on Thursdays, and a lot of stuff happens on Thursday. That's more for press. You see a lot of celebrities, and people like to get certain things out the way. You get good deals.
You
Okay.
get better deals on Sunday though, because that's when they
Yeah,
just
you
try to
get
get rid
better
of
deals
everything.
on Sunday, but it's more meeting the celebrities.
Mhm.
Because there's celebrities that's there that make surprise appearances.
Yes, but then there are the other ones that haven't even shown up yet.
Right? Like I said, Thursday tickets, Friday tickets, and there's a lot for Sunday tickets. 4-day passes sold out.
Of course.
VIP passes sold out.
Sure.
Saturday passes, of course, it's sold out.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to go and be a part of New York Comic Con, you better get your Thursday pass. You better find a way to get a Saturday pass. You better get your Friday pass and your Sunday pass if you're talking about doing all 4 days. But it's not up to me. It's up to you. I know some people work on Thursday, Friday. Some people are afraid to take that sick day or a vacation day.
Oh, trust me, if you don't take the sick day to go to the thing, you will have to take a sick day if you're going all 4 days, because you will come back with something.
Here's my question. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I looked at the numbers, COVID notwithstanding for the few years there, but San Diego Comic-Con has drawn 100,000 people or more since 2000, every single year since 2005. Again, leave COVID after the couple of years because that's a watch there. If they have the lack of groups here, do you think they can still hit the 140 or 167, which is their current high, this year around? And do you think in the era of TikTok and YouTube and all this kind of stuff, where you can see this stuff minutes after the fact, you could a lot of times live stream it. Do you think that's actually going to hurt ticket sales when you go there because of the fact that it's just easier to just do it this way?
I think it depends on what kind of a fan you are.
Yeah.
Like, there are plenty of people that go there with the cosplay, which I know quite a few cosplayers just here in New York that, when Comic-Con comes around, they are going to show up and show out.
Right.
And I'm sure there's just as many over there on the West Coast. There are the fans that actually go and do read comic books and will buy stuff and will talk to the artists, because I think a lot of people forget that Comic-Con is about the comic book community first and foremost. It just so happens that the comic book community has become part of the larger lexicon when it comes to our entertainment,
Right.
which wasn't always a thing. But now you've got studios coming to show premieres of like movies that have nothing to do with comic book characters or stories or anything. It's become a playground for the entertainment industry to sell their wares. And
as like I said, as the comic book, as the box office draws have dropped, a lot of them. I don't know how much these companies are paying to show up at Comic-Con, but you got to admit these companies, whatever it is, Netflix, DC, Marvel, they're paying through the nose to get themselves there.
Quite possibly, and maybe it's not necessary if they've already gone ahead and shown a good amount for the first half of the year, because the one big unfortunate thing about San Diego Comic-Con, it's right there in smack dab middle of the summer, which means if any company has something that they want to talk about for like July up to December, they might have already done it by now.
Right.
If anything, once we get Comic-Con in like October here in New York, they're not worried about November and December. They're worried about telling us what's going to happen in 2024, what that spring is going to be like. That's what they're really trying to set up.
Right.
So I just get the idea that while there is still going to be a strong fan base that goes to this and anything else like it, I think maybe it might be a more beneficial experience for the true hardcore fans, because now all the excess glitz that was probably making the thing stifling is maybe backed off now.
Now, looking at the numbers here for New York Comic-Con, it's been breaking. I mean, again, we'll skip 2021 was still kind of COVID era. That still pulled 150,000. Yeah,
And
2018.
that's usually at the Javits Center, which even when you have that place filled up, it's still not filled. Like, it depends on the room that you're in, but there is still so much room in that place.
But a lot of it's interesting because you guys may disagree, but to me personally, that's almost too crowded for my blood. You know, I went there to cover press a couple times, and honestly, it felt too. I don't know. I had no arm room.
Wait, what day you went?
Saturday.
That's why.
That
Yeah,
is the busiest
But my
day.
point
Yes.
in this case here is I almost wonder if that's driving people away a little bit too, because it takes away from the experience.
Depending
That
on
crowd- that you have walking traffic jams, you got to wade through humans.
yeah. See, it depends on. That's why it's so important to go on the days where it's less people, which is Thursday and Friday, because if you're doing press or interviews, those are the best days because it's not that much traffic.
Well, that's for you, me, and Scott. I'm talking about just for the general fan. All the big stuff happens Saturday. That's your Hall H. That's your big premieres. That's your big studios talking about stuff.
Mhm.
And if they're not going to be there, then maybe Saturday finally becomes an easier day for the rest of the mainstay fans,
Mm-hmm.
And
which
word for
I think
advice,
makes
sorry,
a better
go ahead.
experience.
And word for advice to everybody that's going to New York Comic Con: always go out to get food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, don't try to eat there. The price, no.
Midtown Manhattan is cheaper than Comic Con.
There are plenty of places that are blocks away.
Yeah.
You know, you can easily go. You could get a cab, go, whatever.
Listen, there's enough pizza places that's like $5 for 2 slices and a can of soda.
Yeah.
So,
If this is your first time to the city and you don't get yourself a couple slices of New York pie, I don't even know who you are. You might as well get on the train, go back home.
remember when I was telling you about the that family from Maine that decided to drive into New York City on a Saturday? I think I told you guys about that. Yeah.
No, but I'm guessing the story ends with, and they were never heard from again.
No, the story ends with hours later they were still shaking. But in this case here, we were up there one time, and you know, they were talking about the pizza. Oh, the pizza up here is amazing, best pizza on the planet, and it was like Papa John's in Maine. And I'm like, dude, no, just no. I mean, what we have here in Jersey, what they got, in New York City.
Well, actually, let me just get to Rob on this, because Rob, I think you, outside of like the rest of us, probably have the most expertise when it comes to cons and conventions and such of that nature. From your personal perspective, do you feel that the less that the big studios and the big money makers and everything, big celebrities even, the less that they are at these things, the more enjoyable it actually is for the regular fans that come and do it, because then you're kind of minimizing all the hubbub that's going on at the thing?
Hubbub.
I got to disagree with that, because as a person that goes to conventions, I go for the celebrities. If the bigger name, the more of a chance to get to meet them. That's why I go. That's why, like, for Dallas Fan Expo, I traveled 8 hours so I could see Hayden Christensen. That was one of the main reasons, So I travel far for just, it could be 1 or 2 people. So if they take away the big people, for me, I wouldn't go to the con. I go like I said, I go for celebrities to get things signed, meet new people, how we've been able to interview people. That's what I love doing. I guess we're talking about the news of like all the corporations dropping out, right?
Basically. And I'm saying that there was a possibility that with them gone, Comic-Con can actually feel more like a comic con than it has in previous years.
Now, the Comic-Con versus corporate con
for fans.
I see what you're saying, but I know one thing, like with San Diego. So San Diego's like very different than any con I've been to, because I noticed like you're not guaranteed to meet anybody at the con. Like Andrew Lincoln may be at the convention, but you're not guaranteed to meet him unless you get into the panel, and then he does signings after the panel or before the panel. That's what I've been told about people's experience at San Diego Comic-Con. You're not, you're not guaranteed. But I've also found out that at San Diego Comic-Con, sometimes you can get free autographs, like where you don't. They'll have like tables you go to, and they'll sign prints for free. And that's something different than going to a regular Comic-Con like Dallas Fan Expo, where you're paying anywhere from $30 to $150, being like cheap, maybe like somebody from Ratchet and Clank, I think was or Mario, no, Peach was like the cheapest, and then you had Chevy Chase that charges 150. So it's like, but at the,
Chevy Chase at a comic convention is just odd for me. I'm sorry, I have a hard time with that one.
I'm sorry,
but
well, W. Griswold signing pictures.
Well, it's because with Fan Expo, it's for all fans, and he has those Funko Pops and all that stuff. But with San Diego Comic-Con, which I do want to go one day, but I have already given the aspect that one, you can get signatures for cheaper, but also you're not guaranteed. So, like as a person that does commissions for these cons, I can't go. I can't say I can get you 5 Andrew Lincolns. No, I can't promise that. So that's sorry. I hope I went on topic.
No, you're fine.
Right.
But yeah,
she's asking for
Tyler and Kyle had a little comment real quick. They're talking about the fact that companies may have their own thing. Where WB, where Warner Brothers would have, for example, their own, or DC, we'll fine tune it, DC Con, where they would go from place to place, and then you would get, I don't know, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Grant Gustin, just pick these characters, and then if you were a DC niche like that, and James Gunn, I could see him doing that. You have these things throughout the country in different areas, different venues. It's a little bit of a smaller niche thing, but when you go there, you are getting DC passion.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have any battle with Marvel people. If you got someone in there in a Captain America shirt, you can probably properly ostracize them for it. But I think it's plausible because these companies right here, in this case here, all of these companies will be fighting for your attention, and some of them are very, very much rivals to each other.
Yeah.
So, you have your own in-house kind of a convention like that. Yeah, dude, I think that might be the way to go with it. Where, back to Ryan's point, it becomes Comic-Con and not corporate con.
Yeah.
I went in the era of sci-fi conventions where you used to get beaten up for going to them. And I went to Star Trek conventions and like Star Wars conventions back in like the 80s and 90s. And it was very, very niche to it. We would have it at like, FDU would have it in like their gym, would be the entire thing for like, Star Wars. And it's like, hey, it's like Brent Spiner's at FDU, woo, and like that was the highlight of the whole thing. So I come from that era where I remember this kind of stuff. And again, you go to school with any kind of merch and you got the shit kicked out of you for it. And then they would take your merch. So it's different now because it's so corporatized. And I think in some ways the bubble is about to burst in a lot of different ways because the movies are getting expensive and nobody's going. These conventions, I mean, Rob, firsthand, you can go to this convention and drop $1,000 like that. And, a lot of people.
And that's not even including your hotel, your gas money to get there, your food. And he's right. You can easily drop $1,000 depending on if you're there to get all autographs or they got a lot of different merchandise. Like they got custom Star Wars lightsabers that can cost up to $1,000 themselves, depending on if you're getting sound effects and all that. But so yeah, he's right. You can easily drop $1,000. Now I don't know how San Diego Comic-Con works because I've never been. I just have. Well, like I said, I heard there's a lot more. Yes, obviously money to get in, but I've heard there's a lot more freebies. Or even New York Comic-Con, a lot of the different people will do signings for free. Like Todd McFarlane this last year had 2 different signings where he was signing one item per person for free. And that to me is crazy. Or like Steve from Blue's Clues was only charging $30. They just released a Steve Funko Pop at that convention. Now he charges $70 at conventions for Funko Pops. So I mean it's at those cons you get stuff cheaper.
Yeah, with New York it really depends on which area you go to. Like if you go to Artist Alley where it's all the comic book artists and all the creators of characters and the real heart of what Comic-Con is, the ink and paint men and the writers and stuff. They're happy enough to just go ahead, talk shop with anybody. They'll sign whatever. If you go to the merchandise area where all the stands have like their posters and the Funkos and the figurines and maybe there's some game stuff on display, any of that, anyone that happens to be there will probably be cheap. Yes. Right. It's only in the segregated areas, like the little, I guess, shanty town that they have lower in the Javits Center, where they, just shove all the celebrities in there. so that this way they can just huddle them through, and they post them up on their little stands with their little backdrops, and everyone just shuttles through, picture, done. Shuttle through, picture, done. It's almost like a machine.
Yeah.
And
That's
you never
where
know
you have
who's
the
going to
problems
be.
at.
You never know who's going to be at those cons. Like, for example, Drew Barrymore was there last year because she had a panel and she was giving away free signed magazines to people she was passing by. She was giving away her magazines that were already signed.
Screw that. Go the Oprah route. I want a car.
You get a signed picture. Everyone gets a signed picture.
I will say, as a person that's been on Drew Barrymore's show, I was the virtual audience member. I was a virtual audience member during the whole COVID time. They did virtual audience members, so I got to be on the Tamron Hall show. I got to be on The View. I got to be on.
He was on The View.
I was on The View. And
like, don't you have a day job? Why are you getting all these daytime talk shows?
No, that was virtual, man. That was
virtual. Kelly.
Yeah, but when were they taping that?
Huh?
When were they taping that?
During the pandemic.
Yeah.
What time of day?
In the morning.
Like early in the morning, like around 11 a.m., 10 a.m.
But that's what I'm saying. So how are you doing that and you're not at work?
Because I worked from 1 to 10, or I would do it on my off days. I was off every Tuesday, so they would be filming on Tuesdays. And what I was mentioning about Drew Barrymore is what I loved about her show is you could each show you could submit a little thing about your story, and she'll pick usually one random, or not random, but they'll pick one person. And like, I know one person, they had a disabled vet. And so she said, I'm going to send you $5,000 and then give you my kitchenware and everything. So it's like, she was very generous. I won shoes on the show. I won a $500 Visa gift card with a $500 makeup basket. I mean, it was crazy, the stuff that you could get on that show, but she's very generous. That was the point, but yeah.
God, this is like Radio Man all over again.
I wish I was on that show. Because it's weird. I don't think I mentioned this, but the producers contacted me. I was a producer pitch for an episode with Anthony Anderson, and they went in a different direction. But I was like, well, crap! If they were going to give me like $5,000, I wish I got it. Especially right now. But yeah.
But yeah, really, it was really fun. And what I liked about that era was, as someone that lives in Arkansas, I can't just travel to New Jersey, to New York or wherever to go for one day, be on set, and then get back home. So it gave people that were at home a chance to actually be on the shows. Nice. And the thing about I noticed some shows did it live. Some shows, they would pre-record the audiences, like The View, because The View is very controversial. They would pre-record the smile, clap, and then they would insert them. Like Tamron Hall, it was all live. So there were live reactions. So if you're not looking at the camera, that's going to show on TV and stuff like that. So it was cool learning experience too on that.
I have no idea who Tamron Hall is.
I died on her show once.
So. And then I got to be on The Voice for a second last season too. So that was cool.
So
personally,
I missed the cardboard cutouts that sporting events had back during COVID. We paid like $85 and they would actually print out like a cardboard cutout of you and like put you behind home plate. I didn't do it, but I know a couple people who did. And for the Toronto Blue Jays the entire season, every time that they were up there playing, it's like, oh, there's John,
Or
that,
Ellen.
or like WWE when they had like all the audience members in the seats, but everyone was like an actual LCD panel.
Dude, okay, can I bitch about something real quick? Remember the show American Gladiators?
Yes.
Classic show.
Days stop with the freeze frame.
Days for yeah. American Gladiators used to have cardboard cutouts in the back in the attendance, which if you ever see like American Gladiators versus like the British version, the British version was packing like 10,000-15,000 fans. They were going nuts.
Oh yeah.
But the US version, you could literally see cardboard cutouts in the back for the first few seasons. And it was like, oh my God, what a difference in an energy. And the bitch of it is the theme to American Gladiators was written by Bill Conti, who did like the Rocky theme. And it's like, really, you couldn't get that going that way? But British Gladiators is fantastic. I recommend that way over the American one anytime. So anyway.
Okay, I got a question in regards to the American one. So which one did better? Was it the recent one or the past one?
The original one from the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
The one from 2008 with Hulk Hogan failed pretty much, I think, after one season.
Oh, wow.
weirdly enough, I saw a documentary on this recently too. But I remember, but on Pluto TV are like all of the old episodes. So you can go back and watch the ones from the 80s. You know, again, it's Pluto, so you know, with commercials. But it's neat to watch the old ones again. You know, where you have that one game where you had to get shot with a tennis ball. You know,
I love that one.
They had to roll the ball up that little hill and get it to land where the smoke came up.
Yeah.
You know.
There's actually the one episode where it's like of the two competitors, one took it down to the very last second and like scored with like, you know, just being right up there and throwing the ball at the thing. And then the next guy, first second, gets shot out, hits him in the butt.
Yep.
Is it kind of like the show Ninja Warrior?
Similar but different.
Yeah, it's basically you work directly against the gladiators themselves.
Okay.
You know, in safe events. So there's like a joust thing where they're up 30 feet high.
Yeah.
And they got to use jousting equipment to knock them, you know, each other down. You know, there's certain
or
things
that dodgeball where you're like running around them to like put them in the tubes and then
while they're trying to totally tackle you.
And
I was thinking of the time, but it's not American Gladiator. That's why I was asking. I was thinking of when Stephen Amell went on there and did the whole
course.
Oh yeah, doing the salmon ladder and everything.
Yeah, no, this is different. Although you need that kind of physique to be able to pull off American Gladiators. But again, British one was just so much more fun because the energy, the crowd was there, the music was better. It was better than Bill Conti because you had Queen in there, you had Foreigner, and they made it work. And it was like a soccer crowd, to be honest.
Wow.
It was like.
Plus, I think the difference is like with American Gladiators as opposed to like say Rock's Titan Games or Ninja Warrior or any of those. You had pretty much just like everyday people going ahead and doing American Gladiators. You had like lawyers, soccer moms, whatever. You know, not necessarily the people that were like, you know, jogging 5 miles every day. You just had like your typical American trying to go up against these huge steroid-induced men and women, and you know it was steroid-induced.
Well, they did it because the one guy, Turbo, his last season he had to actually switch to become the announcer because the steroid look was causing like his body to droop.
Yeah.
So he had to be on a blazer and everything because by that point the muscles were already starting to fall apart.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, I love how the guys were named like Turbo and Nitro and Gemini, and then like the girls were like Sky, Lace,
Jet. Yeah.
Well, and yet they'd still be able to beat any of the guys that competed in the thing.
Blaze, Laser, and Blazer.
Blazer.
So, do we have any information? So, like with Netflix not being there, DC not being there, Marvel's not being there, like you know these corporates not being there, what are going to be taking their spots in order for like? Have they announced like what's taking their spots with them not being there?
I don't know.
I think your best guess would probably be a lot of the smaller names. I mean,
and I didn't see it on this, but HBO is not going to be there as well.
Okay,
right.
Which is now just Max.
Yeah,
no, it's not. It's HBO Max.
It's HBO Max.
Well, I meant like on the app, it just says Max.
No. Do not sully that intro.
All right, I was saying on my app it just shows Max, so I didn't know.
No. It is Max in the same way that is the Mario Cuomo Bridge, you know, the Ed Koch Bridge. People in
so
Jersey,
HBO Max is not going to be there either, so I didn't see their names. So I was just letting you know.
But no, I could imagine there's probably.
What about Amazon?
That I don't know. I just knew out of those that I know it because I saw an article saying
so they can promote Rings of Power. Oh boy,
the boys. So they can promote the boys, homie.
The boys.
Well, apparently they wrapped season 2, and it pissed off like all of England because they were damaging like 1,200-year-old forests. So, but
yeah, you're probably gonna look at your Amazon Prime, possibly, maybe things like Tubi. No one said anything against Hulu, so maybe Hulu will show up. So this way, Disney has at least some presence.
That's right. Disney will probably be there because
probably more independent companies like say Rooster Teeth. Even though they have their own thing in Austin, I know they could probably show up at San Diego.
They're big enough too. Yeah.
No, I'd like to see. I'd like to hear more about Ruby final season. That's for sure.
God, Rooster Teeth! Holy crap! I forgot.
And then definitely some of the more independent comic names. If Marvel and DC, they may not show up studio wise, but there's certainly going to be a comic presence. But then now also give more continuity to like Mirage or IDW or any of the other independent ones out there to basically go ahead and make a little bit more of a footnote if they want to, because now it's going to be more of like an even playing field. It's not like Marvel and DC is just like all of Marvel and all of DC. It's just going to come right down to the comics themselves.
And I'm going to say something right here. I'm glad I'm right here in front of the camera.
Go ahead.
Miles Comics, you better show up in New York Comic Con. And make sure, Miles Comics, but make sure you bring the creator of Static Shock so he could sign my comic book.
Oh, Milestone.
That guy for the longest. For the longest.
If he is there, I'll be sending you a Funko Pop to get signed.
I got Static Funko and I got a comic book.
I've got the Static Funko. Got the Static Funko signed by Phil Lamar.
That's a maybe. I mean, it is DC, but it's a maybe.
I'm surprised they haven't done a Static Shock series yet.
They're
working on it.
And Michael B. Jordan's supposed to be Static Shock.
No, he's
Static's supposed to be young.
I could see him directing it.
Or no,
producer.
Maybe he could be the dad.
Oh, okay, I knew he was something with the project because when I talked to Phil Lamar said Michael B. Jordan was Static Shock. That's why I thought that, but I guess I could be wrong.
I mean, he could be old Virgil. Well, probably the dad. I would think. Yeah.
No, who's the kid from Stranger Things? I thought he was going to be in the running.
Oh, no, not Noah Schnapp. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I know.
I thought he was in the running for it.
Maybe. But I know that's been on the talks for the last 2 years.
Well, I think at this point they have to worry about how Blue Beetle's going to do before they worry about any other youth-oriented heroes.
When's that come out? August?
Yes, because
I really think that movie's going to do really good. I love the trailer.
I have a feeling too, yeah.
What do you mean, no?
No, it's probably going to be a decent film, but after the wave of DC disappointment, let's just call it what it is. Disappointment. DC-pointment.
No, I'm going to have to cancel.
He just left in disgust right now.
I'm going to have to cancel Ryan on this one because I really think this one is going to save DC.
It's not going to save it.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Zolo Mara Duane is not big enough to save it.
I will say it's saving it.
I'm sure there's going to be enough of a cultural outreach that you're going to have a lot of particular people of a particular culture coming out to see Blue Beetle because of the cast and because of the character. But after everything we've seen from Black Adam and the Suicide Squad to Fury of the Gods and now The Flash, there is no public faith in DC films.
I have faith in Blue Beetle. I have faith.
I believe that the actor is going to bring people because he's from Cobra Kai, and I met him. He is the most humblest guy I've ever met, and I think the movie's going to do great. Power. That is my opinion.
All right, this is the third time I'm going to say this. We got to wrap this up.
Got it.
we're at 80 minutes at this point. I got
to get off your damn Blue Beetle soapbox.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I posted it in the comments twice, and it's like everybody's like, "No, it's gonna you bullshit."
Right. And on that note, guys,
so just because one's wearing a Flash shirt and the other one is
yes,
yeah, and of course Davion wants to be Red Hood, so they're both shills for DC.
So,
all right,
I'm a Marvel show.
Okay, right. We're gonna end it right here.
Yes.
I'm Davion. Scott is on horizontal. This is Rob, and this is Ryan, and we're out, ladies and gentlemen.
We're out. Thank you for being for the